Mayor Gerardo Sanchez,
Present.
Vice Mayor Matias Rosales,
Present.
Councilmember Mario Buchanan Jr.,
Present.
Councilmember Luis Cabrera,
Present.
Councilmember Africa Luna Carrasco,
Present.
Councilmember Jose Ponce, Councilmember Gloria Torres.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Councilmember Torres, could you lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
You ready?
Uh-huh.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilmember Torres. We're going to go ahead and go with discussion and possible action items. Discussion and possible action on all matters regarding the acceptance and approval for the filing of the comprehensive annual financial report for the city of San Luis fiscal year ended June 30th, 2020. Monica?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. I'm here tonight to present, Mrs. Brittany Williams is here to present the council. I just want to mention just a few words before I give the microphone to Mrs. Brittany Williams. We all know the last year was a very challenging year. Despite all those challenges, Finance Department was able to conclude the audit on time. And tonight we have here Mrs. Brittany Williams, senior partner of the firm Henfield and Mitch, to give the presentation of the CAFR to council members. Thank you, Brittany, for being here with us tonight.
Thanks, Monica. Well, Mr. President, members of council, thank you so much for having me here tonight virtually. Again, it's a pleasure to be able to join you this way. And I do look forward to when we can all be in person again together. But as Monica mentioned, you know, there were some challenges this year, but we were able to complete everything that we needed to complete for the audit. And in fact, we got the last couple of reports out today. And so I'm going to give you just a brief highlight overview of each of the reports that were issued. For fiscal year 20, we did perform our entire audit remotely. We had some challenges, but we were able to work with finance and everybody was so cooperative and helpful, and we did get through everything just fine. And so I am unable to share because somebody else is sharing their screen. So I'm not sure who can help me with that. Is it I don't see Rosie back on here again. Who is doing the monitoring?
Hi,
Who's
Brittany.
sharing?
This is Sonia. And
Sonia,
probably
yes.
you're not allowed to share because I'm sharing this screen too. So,
yeah,
can
you stop sharing?
Okay.
And then I can share?
Go right ahead, proceed. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. And I'll hand it back over to you as well.
Okay.
When I'm done. Okay. So let me just go ahead and get to our first report here, which is the comprehensive annual financial report. This is the financial statement audit that we do for the city of San Luis for the year. And I'll just walk you through a few quick highlights here. We're not going to spend too much time on this document. You can see it's very large. It's about 157 pages. The first section here is a transmittal letter, which is updated by Monica annually. And it's a really great place to just get a good read of what's going on with the city and long-term financial planning and agriculture, real estate. She updates this annually. And so it's away from all the numbers. It just kind of is some verbiage on what is going on with the city currently. This is an important document. This is your Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. This is for 2019. And the city does have to work very hard to get this done. It requires extra work in the CAFR report, including statistical information, a transmittal letter, and being very ready very early for the audit. So you can imagine that it's a big job to close out city finances every year in a timely manner, let alone try to meet this earlier deadline of December 31st to get the awards from GFOA, but the city will be giving the award in 2020 as well. So that's a great thing. The very first thing you will see in the financial section is our independent auditor's report. So this is where we provide our opinion on the financial statements and let you know if we've provided a clean opinion, which we have. So it was it's called an unmodified opinion, but we felt that the financial statements were materially correct. So that's a great report. It doesn't get any better than that. And that is our report that was dated. If you wanted to look at some year-over-year comparison information, the MD&A is a great place to do that. As you can see, it goes compares years 2020 and 2019 for all of the financial statement figures, and then provides some narrative after each of those describing why things changed year over year. So that's a really great place to get that. And then in the back, I won't bore you with all the financial statement stuff, but you'll find 30 or so pages of statistical information. And it's really interesting because it provides 10 years of historical data that's specific to the city of San Luis. So if you ever wanted to look kind of back at some demographics for the city of San Luis, that's a really great place to look. The next report that we issue is called a HERF report, and this is directly tied to the Arizona Revised Statutes, Title 28, Chapter 18, Article 2. Basically says that we have to look at HERF fund monies coming from roads and taxes and make sure that those are spent in the correct way, and they were. We felt that everything was complied with and everything looked good. So that's a really easy one-page report to cover. Another thing that we do is we perform something called a single audit, and I've talked about this before with the council, but this is a federal audit. Essentially takes all the federal monies that have been received by the city of San Luis and spent during one fiscal year, and we are required to do a risk assessment on those federal dollars to determine which ones we're going to test every year. We kind of rotate between which ones we're testing, and that's guided by the federal government. And this report actually goes up to the Office of Management and Budget at the White House, and so it's a pretty important package. It also goes to the Arizona Auditor General's office, and so it's got state and federal reporting implications. I'm going to skip right to a summary page that will really help. First we'll talk about this. So this is the schedule of expenditures of federal awards, and this page here basically lays out every single federal grant that was received by the city and how much was spent of each of those grants. As you can see this year, there's some COVID-19 monies in here that have been identified, and those were very specific to this year, a little bit different, obviously, to what is going on currently in our environment. So this page is a summarized version of any of the findings that we may have found. What you'll want to look at here, this is related to the financial statements. We issued an unmodified report, which is a clean report. It's a clean report. We did have a couple of deficiencies that we noted here, but no non-compliance. Then we talk about our federal award opinion, also unmodified, no findings in this. And this year we tested the coronavirus relief funds, which probably very familiar with, heard a lot about, but it was to subsidize some of those city revenues that had been taken during the quarantine. And so this was straight from the federal government and used for public safety personnel, basically, to assist municipalities with the shortfall. And so that's the program that we tested. We didn't have any issues with it. We had a couple of findings that we felt were necessary to report. One of them was related to disbursements, and just making sure, this has been kind of a continuing issue, just that, purchases have a purchase order in place prior to making the purchase. So finance has a great plan in place to make sure that that is corrected moving forward. And then we just had a little bit of an issue with some debt service expenditures being paid out of the wrong fund, and so it required an audit adjustment. And if you look at the last couple of pages, this is where Monica is able to describe all of the efforts that will be made by the city to correct the findings. And she's laid out some really great plans for corrective action. So that is the single audit reporting package, is what that is called. Let's see. The next one I'd like to talk about is the expenditure limitation report. As you can see, we do perform audits. You think we're just out there once a year, but it's kind of continuous because there are so many different reports and they all have different deadlines. And so it really is almost just wrapping up now, right before, we would go out and start again. So this is the expenditure limitation report. This is our accountant's report. We felt that everything looked really good. And that was compliant with all the state regulations for the expenditure limitation report. And you can see here that the city is well within their limitations with an excess of $19.2 million. So that is a really good thing. And the last document I'm going to talk about, and I'll open it up for questions, is this communication to governance letter. So I emailed this directly to all the city council members this year, and we'll be doing that moving forward, just to ensure that you have communication with us and that we're required to communicate this directly to those charged with governance from the auditors, to make sure that you hear directly from us about how the audit went. If there was any sort of issues that we ran into, we would put them in here, difficulties encountered. We would let you know. It's just talking about how management is allowed to make estimates, and here's some of the estimates that are included in the financial statements. In addition, if we had any audit adjustments, we would include those. If there were any disagreements with management, we would include those. If we found any fraud or anything like that, that would be included here. This is a clean letter. There's nothing in here. But we do talk about the responsibility of fraud being both on management and members of the governing body, and that, it's really important to be aware of those things. And we include the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners Fraud Prevention Checklist for your reference, so that you can kind of look at that and make sure that the city has all of these types of things in place to prevent any sort of fraud. And then at the back of this, we include the engagement letter and the signed representation letter from management to show you what the terms of the engagement were agreed to. So those are the reports that we issued. I know I kind of went through those in a whirlwind, and there's a lot of them, but I am open to any questions that you all might have on any of the reports, or just me as the engagement partner for the city of San Luis, or anything at all.
Brittany, this is Mayor Sanchez. I have a quick question. Do you also look at the reserves that we have, what we have in reserves also? Is that part of the report also?
As far as reserves, do you mean like cash and fund balance and those types of things? Yes, we audit those fully. Cash balances, we often reach out and do extra confirmations on cash balances, and look at the restricted fund balance versus assigned or committed versus unassigned. And we do kind of do some test work on those. Of course, we don't make any sort of judgments on management's decisions on how they decide to allocate those funds or spend the monies, as long as they're within reason.
Do you remember the number we have in reserve? I don't recall. I'm just curious because
I can open up the CAFR and we can take a look. Oh, let me share my screen again. Hold on one second, Mayor. So if I open up the CAFR, and there's different ways to look at this. I mean, when you talk about cash balances, that doesn't mean that it's necessarily just available to be spent on anything. There's definitely restrictions and different amounts being designated for different purposes in the budget, and Monica can definitely speak more to that. But if we look here at the fund financial statements, so this is just your general fund right here, you can see that this has a fund balance of 20.1 million at the end of the year, and an ending cash and investments. These are the balances here, so about $15 million. Obviously, some of this is non-spendable, some of it's unassigned. And then as you get into some of the other grants, like the Highway User Fund, that's usually grants or state restricted funds. They end up in this restricted bucket here. Is that kind of what you were referring to, Mayor?
Yeah, because I actually had an accountant resident ask me questions about it. I'm like, I felt kind of, and I'm glad you're mentioning this, and that's why I mentioned it. So I'm like, yeah, I would definitely want to know, because I was on the assumption we were like below 9 million or something like that, but now I see there's a little bit more. So okay, good. That makes
Yeah, the total fund balance of all the governmental funds at the end of fiscal 20 was about $25 million. And of course, Monica and the budgeting team work to, sorry about that, I'm trying to close some of my things, work to budget those accordingly for the city.
perfect. No, Brittany, that was my question, and thank you. And no,
You're welcome.
I really appreciate the hard work, and I really appreciate what our finance director and her team do, and all the departments. And Brittany, thank you. And I know you should be starting pretty soon in a couple of months. And I thank you. I thank your organization. I really do.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the team does a great job, Rola, and I know Carlos is gone, but Monica and the whole team is just so helpful to us.
Perfect. That's what I want to hear. I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for any council member that might have any questions or concern. Okay, so Councilor Vice Mayor, any questions and concerns?
No, sir. Great report. I'm glad that we're doing good and the staff is doing what they're supposed to, and hopefully I'm pretty sure they'll have everything done by June 30th. So thank you.
Perfect. Councilmember Torres, any questions or concerns?
No, Mayor, just thank you for the accounting department. They're doing a great job. Thank you.
Perfect. Councilmember Mario Buchanan Jr.
None, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Africa Luna Carrasco, comments, questions, and concerns?
No, Mayor, just comment to staff. Kudos for all you do, for hard work and dedication. It shows. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Africa. Councilmember Luis Cabrera, comments, questions, and concerns?
Just a comment to Monica and her team. Thank you for the hard work. And Brittany, thank you as well for the presentation. Very informative. And that's pretty much it, Mayor. So
Thank you, Luis. Well, Brittany, you heard it. So thank you once again. That's another year gone, and great audit. And we will be continue working with your team. And once again, Monica and your team, finance department, thank you so much for working so hard. Badeo and everyone involved, thank you for budgeting. So I really appreciate it. So I will now entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to accept and approve the filing of the comprehensive annual financial report for the city of San Luis for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2020.
Second, Gloria.
There's a motion, there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. There we go, Brittany. Thank you. I'll see you. We're going to go ahead and go with the, I guess, item number 3B, discussion and possible action and all matters regarding authorization for a budget transfer to have budget authority to spend the Arizona Department of Transportation grants awarded. Tony Torres.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. In June of 24, we partnership with the Greater Yuma Port Authority, and we enter into an intergovernmental agreement. We were applying for a grant from the Arizona Commerce Authority or in Arizona Department of Transportation for the infrastructure development in the Magrino Industrial Park. As part of the IGA, the Port Authority committed to, if we receive the grant, for us to manage the grant, to pay for the match, which is about $50,000, so 10%, and then to pay for any engineering services and other fees that might come in. We were successful in getting the grant, and so therefore, since we hadn't allocated that money in the budget, what we're asking is the council to authorize us to do a budget transfer to the special revenue account as stated in the agenda item, so that we could have the budget capacity to spend the $571,997.80, which includes the grant, includes the match, and includes the engineering services. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Tony, I have no questions. Congratulations, and thank you for applying for that grant. And I know grants are difficult right now because everyone's applying for assistance or any type of grant, so great job. So that's all my questions. So I'm gonna go ahead and open the floor for any discussion. Vice Mayor?
No, Mayor, no questions. Glad to see this project moving forward and developing that area. Thank you.
Perfect. Gloria Torres, comments, questions, concerns?
No, Mayor, no question. Thank you.
Marty Buchanan Jr., comments, questions, or concerns?
None, Mayor. Thank you.
Africa Carrasco, comments, questions, or concerns?
None, Mayor.
Thank you. Let's see here. Luis Cabrera, comments, questions, or concerns?
Just to thank you, Jenny, for the hard work and getting that money to us for this development. So that's it.
Good job. Thank you. I will now entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve the budget transfer as presented.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? All those against? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 3C, discussion possible action on all matters regarding a contract with Core Engineering Group, PPLC, for the construction inspection and administration services for Magrino Subdivision Unit Number 3 base phase improvement project, contract funded by Greater Yuma Port Authority. Jenny?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. As part of the last item, we received a proposal from Core Engineering. Kevin Birch is as part of the Zoom meeting, if you have any specific questions. But we did receive the proposal for $21,997.80. Core Engineering is part of our on-call engineering list. And again, this project or this contract would be paid with funds coming from the Port Authority. Buna George is also on the line if you have any specific questions. But tonight we're asking you to award the contract to Core Engineering in the amount stated in the agenda item.
Thank you, Jenny. I have no questions. Good job. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for any further discussion. Vice Mayor, comments, questions, or concerns?
None, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see here. Gloria Torres, comments, questions, or concerns?
No, Mayor, no. Thank you.
Thank you. Mario Buchanan Jr., comments, questions, or concerns?
None, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Africa Carrasco, any comments, questions, or concerns?
None, Mayor.
Thank you. Luis Cabrera, comments, questions, or concerns?
No, thank you.
Thank you. If that's said, I will now entertain a motion.
Yes, Mayor, I move to approve the construction administration contract with the Core Engineering for the Magrino Subdivision Unit 3 base phase improvement project in the amount not to exceed $21,997.80 as presented.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Thank you, Jenny. Item number 3D, discussion and possible action on all matters regarding the award of a contract to Don Peterson Engineering Company for the construction of the Magrino Industrial Park Unit 3 base phase roadway improvements project. Jenny Torres, Economic Development Manager.
Again, good morning, good afternoon, Mayor, members of the council. As part of the last two items as well, we went out for a request for proposals soliciting construction firms for the construction of this project. We received two proposals, one from Don Peterson Engineering in the amount of $516,182.25, and Gutierrez Canales Engineering PC in the amount of $526,356 with 88 cents to be paid from the grant and from the match provided by the Port Authority. During the review of the bids, we did notice some irregularities in the DP proposal. I have Glenn here and Kay and Eulogio that can kind of go into the details of that. Based on our revisions and based on our discussion, we feel comfortable in moving forward and awarding this contract to DPE. The corrected amount is, it would be $516,992 with 25 cents. They continue to be one of the lowest bidder, but I will have Glenn come in and kind of discuss some of the irregularities so that you understand what those are and that you feel comfortable making this award. Let me step aside for a minute.
Glenn?
Honorable Mayor, members of council, there were a couple of minor technical irregularities. There was a couple of errors on the tabulation sheet. There was one page was the wrong form, but nothing changes the bid amount at the end. and they are committed to building this project as designed for that price, and nothing put DPE at a competitive advantage over anybody else. So as a result, council has the power to waive technical irregularities, and if council wishes to award bid to Don Peterson Engineering, Inc., I prepared a form of motion that you see in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.
And Mayor, members of council, Jim Allen from DPE is also part of the Zoom meeting if you have any specific questions for any of us.
Jenny, I have no questions. I agree. They've been working with us, and I have no problem. Thank you, Glenn, for pointing out those irregularities, but which do not interfere with the process of the work. So I had no further questions. I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for any discussion. Vice Mayor?
No questions, Mayor. Like I said, DP's been always bidding on our projects, and good to work with them again.
Good. Thank you. Gloria Torres, comments, questions, or concerns?
No, Mayor, I have no question. Thank you.
Marty Buchanan Jr., comments, questions, or concerns?
None, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Africa Carrasco, comments, questions, or concerns?
None, Mayor.
Thank you. Luis Cabrera, comments, questions, or concerns?
No, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. If not, enough said. I will now entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to award contract to Don Peterson Engineering, Inc. in the amount $516,992.25 and waive the irregularities as presented.
A council member, if you could also read off the prepared motion on the screen, it gives findings.
He did mention the irregularities presented.
Yes, that was an earlier motion. This one actually has the findings.
That's
As
not
well.
what's on the screen.
Yeah, what's on the screen, Kay?
They're changing the screen.
I think they're changing the screen to give you the actual motion that, there you go.
I'm sorry, Mayor, on our screens it's showing, so I didn't know that you couldn't see it.
Yeah, we couldn't. Councilmember Cabrera, would you modify your motion to indicate the one we're seeing right now?
Mayor. Mayor, we cannot hear.
Sorry, Mr. Cabrera. No, nothing was heard. I think you're losing connection. In that case, Mayor, I move to award the contract to Don Peterson Engineering, Inc. in the amount of $516,992.25 as presented, and waive any technical irregularities or form in the bid as submitted. In making this waiver, council determines that nothing presented changes the amount of the bid or has put the bidders on an unequal footing or destroys free and fair competition.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move, Mayor.
Is there a second?
Again.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. And happy early birthday, Africa.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yep. Enjoy.
Party.
Enjoy.